Hey, it's Jeff, and I am off on a little adventure with my wife, Mary. We're skiing into a backcountry hut here in Colorado. We've got probably about a 2 or 3 hour ski to get in to the hut, and then we're going to stay there for a few days. We've got probably about a good 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours of daylight, so shouldn't be too much of a problem getting there before dark. And it would be a problem if we didn't get there before dark. But yeah, just thought I'd bring you along on our little hut adventure. Which would you rather have? We made it, took just a little bit over 2 hours to get here, which is awesome. Plenty of time. And we actually have a few beers with us. I think I might sit on the deck and have a beer. So being out here like this in the wilderness is something I've never shot a video about this before and never shared it before, but it's a big part of my life. It's a huge part of my life. And I know it's not for everyone, but I absolutely love getting out here. And it is, I mean, this is a beautiful cabin we're in. So, it's not the roughest of circumstances. I've certainly had much rougher times in the backcountry, but we're out there. We're 11,000 feet. We're miles from the nearest road. We're long ways from the nearest cell coverage in case anything goes wrong. And but I love being out in the wilderness. And I know a lot of people might look at this and say, boy, that's pretty crazy, Jeff. How did that all happen? And the thing is I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs in the Midwest. And I was lucky that my parents exposed me to we got outside a lot. We went on camping trips. They were always car camping trips where you drove to a campground and you always had your car there, and it was a lot more civilized than something like this. But I was great that I was exposed that way. But then I wanted to get out west. As soon as I got out of college, I wanted to get out west, and I found a way to get out west. And actually, I got a corporate job, and I went to that corporate job. But I was just, once I moved out west, I could just see that wilderness because you're driving through it. You're driving through the mountains and the deserts and along the rivers, and I just so desperately wanted to get into the wilderness, and I did. It was like, I guess like hiking was my gateway drug in, and so I started doing some hikes and some big hikes out in the mountains, and that led to backpacking, and that led to whitewater rafting and kayaking and mountain biking and skiing, and here I am, decades later, and I can't get enough of it. There's a lot more trips that I want to do that I haven't done, but I've done a lot of great backcountry trips, and it's just become this huge part of my life, and I absolutely love it. And I mean, right now we've been out here for 4 days, and I am just so much more relaxed and so much more creative, frankly. Last night I actually woke up in the middle of the night with these ideas for my next book. And it's sort of, I've been waiting for a couple of years for those ideas to come, and they just all percolated up. And I took I think 6 pages of notes in my journal there in the middle of the night. It's chilly, because the fire's died down and it's gotten cold in the cabin. So I'm huddled up and I've got my little headlamp on, and I'm trying to not keep my wife up, but just pouring out hopefully this next book. And so this is a huge part of my life, and it's been fun to share some of this with you. And I can't wait for my next big adventure. We're just heading out for a little ski. Wilderness trip where I had this moment of supreme clarity that completely changed my life. It was pretty crazy. It was just literally a thought, but it changed my life. It was on a river trip on the Green River through the Gates of Lador in Utah. Just a beautiful river trip. I'd never done it before. I was awed with everything about this river trip. I was with this really great group of people. There's only, I think, 7 of us, and I'd never met any of them before. Showed up at the put-in, and we, by hook or crook, I figured out a way to get on this trip, and we put in and floated down. Of course, no guides or anything. We were put together our own trip, and it was just a marvelous trip. And we got down to this, I think it was our 4th night on the river. And I woke up one morning. This is an October trip. The cottonwoods were all changing color, so they were golden. The light was just absolutely gorgeous, golden light in the canyon. It's this huge canyon, just beautiful. And I woke up, and I was sleeping outside. I didn't have a tent. I was just in my sleeping bag on the ground. And I woke up, and it was just past, it was just first light. And the light had this just gorgeous golden quality because of all the golden cottonwood leaves, and just like 15 feet away from me there was this deer that was grazing, and I woke up and I'm still in my sleeping bag huddle, and it's chilly, and I'm just looking at that deer and this beautiful golden light and these canyon walls. And at that time my wife Mary was pregnant with our first child, and I was just about to go back into the corporate world because that seemed like the thing to do, because with a new baby coming and health insurance and all that. And so I'd actually already accepted this corporate job when I took this river trip. And after 3 or 4 days in the wilderness, I got this clarity. And it was just that I'm going to go back and I'm going to take this corporate job. I'm going to go back into the corporate world, which is a struggle for me. And the thing is, my life is going to be different. It's not going to be the average life. It's not going to be this corporate life. Somehow, I don't know how, but I'm going to lead an extraordinary life where I get to pick what I'm doing when I do it, where I get to have the time and the space to do wilderness trips, where I get to take my new baby and my wife on these types of trips and expose them to the wilderness. And I just said, I have to lock in this moment. I have to lock in this moment, everything about this moment, because I feel so incredibly compelled right now to live an extraordinary life, not a life where I'm doing a 9 to 5 and I'm working some corporate job for the rest of my life. I will not live that average, normal life, that life that when I grew up, in suburbia in the Midwest, that's what everyone did. They just got a corporate job and they worked that corporate job until they retired and then they died. I said to myself, I'm going to lead a big life. Not big in consumption, but big in experience, rich in experience. And I did my best to just notice every single thing in that moment. And I've never ever forgotten that moment. Never ever have I forgotten that moment. And I've achieved it. I've achieved this life, and it's just breathtaking to me, just absolutely breathtaking to me that I was able to set that intention 20 plus years ago, and then create the life that gives me these amazing experiences, this amazing freedom.